Hey, what up everybody? This is Stevie Breach coming to you just momentarily when I left the gym. I made a video talking about the WWE Money in the Bank 2015 pay-per-view, talking all about the ladder match between Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose. We're going to find out who the actual champion is going to be. Talked about the ladder match for the Money in the Bank briefcase where you can cash in to become the champion at any time you'd like. Everybody knows the gimmick. Everybody saw at WrestleMania this year, Seth Rollins changed the main event, making it a three-way between Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns, cashing in to become champion. Everyone who has become the Money in the Bank winner, Mr. Money in the Bank, has become the champion, all besides for Damian Sandow and John Cena. So there is a pretty good track record. If you win this match, you will become champion in the foreseeable future. But little did I know, I forgot to talk about the big match that is on everyone's plates, and that's Kevin Owens going up against John Cena. I will think that at Elimination Chamber, honestly, there was a very awesome match between Kevin Owens and John Cena. Very hard for me not to call this guy Kevin Cena after watching this guy in ROH for so many years and so many people, branding that name in my head. It's going to take me a while to get over this one, especially with his name, having Kevin in it, becoming Kevin Owens. But Kevin Owens getting his debut win over John Cena is huge for this guy. And I know, honestly, you can point to maybe guys like oh shit, what was his name? The Japanese guy that beat him when he was having the feud on TV with him. God damn it. What was Albert's name when he was the Japanese guy? I forgot, but he got a win over John Cena on Monday Night Raw, and everyone saw it, and that was supposed to, send shockwaves through the WWE universe. Everybody going and buying house shows to see, Albert versus John Cena, main eventing house shows, and nobody really liked the character. Tenzai, Tenzai did not get over with the people. Tenzai was supposed to be the hired hand of John Laurinaitis at the time, and it just didn't work out, and it just wasn't fun. But Kevin Owens, making that statement of basically his NXT championship is worth more than the United States Heavyweight Championship in WWE. It sort of gives NXT this real purpose behind it, and it gives John Cena sort of a real guy to be going up against. John Cena has really taken a lesser role since, I guess you can say, since maybe the Royal Rumble. Royal Rumble, he was in the three-way for the World Heavyweight Championship. The match was him, Seth Rollins, and Brock Lesnar. He lost that match and then went into a feud where he eventually won the United States Championship from Rusev at WrestleMania. He wrestled on the middle of the card in a match that just really didn't have any fanfare behind it. He was a big part of it, of the success of WrestleMania, because he is, Mr. WWE. He's the guy on the tickets. He is the guy on the backpacks. He's just not the guy in the main event right now. They're going and they're featuring Brock Lesnar. They're featuring their new stars they're building up right now, which is the former members of the Shield. And he's a part of it. He's like the legend of the group. He's the sort of the golden boy, but he's just not the guy that's going to be carrying the championship. But as of right now, being the United States champion and losing a match to the NXT champion, I can understand the fact of why John Cena would want a rematch and why WWE would want a rematch to be booked so fast 2 weeks later at the Money in the Bank pay-per-view. But honestly, this has trouble written all over it. I can see this is a match where John Cena gets his win back and then we go to a third win. Honestly, in Kevin Owens, when he debuted on Monday Night Raw, answering the challenge, coming out to fight John Cena, only to say that he would fight John Cena someday, but it would be on his own terms, and the fight wasn't going to be today. Honestly, he should take that same sort of that same sort of thing. He has something right now that not that many people can say that they have. They have a win in their folder over John Cena, which would make them an instant star in WWE. So now, why Kevin Owens would turn around and grant an immediate rematch to John Cena when he can be the ultimate heel right now and just say, John, I beat you. I'm moving on to bigger and better things. I'm going to be entering into the Money in the Bank ladder match, and I'm going to be going after my chance to become the World Heavyweight Champion of WWE, because I want something better for me. I want something better for my family. That's the gimmick that he has. That he's a prize fighter, and he needs to move moving forward. I know WWE needs to sell tickets. I know WWE needs to sell subscriptions. Kevin Owens versus John Cena. The kids were all, upset in the front row because, their hero lost, and they don't get to see this guy lose so many times. We've seen him lost twice this year, though. Once to Rusev at Fastlane, and now once at Elimination Chamber to John Cena. I'm sorry, John Cena lost to Kevin Owens. But now as you're moving forward, if you do the rematch and you have Cena beat Kevin Owens, and then maybe even turn it around and you go into Battleground and you have another match, to try to have the payoff, it's just... The thing with feuds in WWE is that they go on too long, to the point where it doesn't even matter, because by the time you get to that last match, no one can even really remember why the feud started and why they're fighting. It would have been great for them to move on to something else, so that way when Kevin Owens and John Cena fight somewhere down the road, whether if it's 6 months, whether if it's a year, whether if it's a year and a half, somewhere down the road, or maybe even pair them up at a big WrestleMania. I know that that's way on down the road, and the chances that Kevin Owens is going to be headlining a WrestleMania in his first year going to WrestleMania are slim to none, and I know that a lot of people are thinking that maybe something like that is going to happen with a Sami Zayn versus Kevin Owens match, but dreams can happen, and that's why everybody likes to future book what's going to be going down to the company. But honestly, in my mind, if you bring that up, the fact of basically being able to say, hey John, I understand you want to challenge me, but remember what happened in the past when we fought last time. I beat you clean in the middle of the ring. No excuses, no fake referee bumps, no running in from a manager, no cheating because of any of the wrestlers in the back. It was man on man. We were in the ring, we beat the hell out of each other, but I won. It's a lot like when the Briscoes in ROH, when Mark challenged Jay for the championship a few years ago. Mark was able to bring up the fact that in his first match in Ring of Honor, he beat Jay Briscoe. Jay Briscoe might be walking around, he might be the champion of ROH right now, but I'm your little brother, and I beat you the one time that we fought, and I'll beat you again. And that's what, built up that match to really be something, because a lot of people look at Jay as the badass of the group, but, it's true. Mark beat him, and it was a damn good match. But we'll see where we go from here. Honestly, when it comes down to it, I think it's going to be a great match. I think I'm going to be excited for it. I'm picking John Cena to get the win. I just wish that they would have thought about maybe moving this to where it would have mattered somewhere on down the road. Next one, honestly, might be one of the reasons I'm looking forward to the Money in the Bank pay-per-view, but at the same time, I'm not looking forward to it as much as I was looking forward to the Elimination Chamber last month. John Cena versus Kevin Owens. It's being billed as the biggest rematch of all time in the history of WWE. And honestly, I don't really think that's the way I'm looking at it. For my examples, I'm going to use 2 matches from WrestleMania history, one of the biggest shows of all time, WrestleMania 3. First example is looked at as one of the best matches in the history of WWE. That would be Ricky Steamboat going up against the Macho Man. Probably one of the best matches a lot of people have seen. If not, it's in your top 5 to top 10. With this match that happened, this was the build-up of a long angle involving the Macho Man and Ricky Steamboat, where there was bad blood involved with Macho Man, cheating to get the wins over Ricky Steamboat. He took Ricky Steamboat out, injuring a bone in his neck by coming off the top turnbuckle with the ring bell, slamming it on Ricky Steamboat, who was set up sort of like a curb stomp would be, but with his throat over the barricade that went around the ring. In the old days, it wasn't that the black sort of barricade that you know of today. It was just sort of like a steel chair would be. And it had little beams on it. Everybody knows what I'm talking about, because even though they don't use it around the ring for WWE, you see them in other things of arenas, or you see them at whatever you go to, rodeos, state fairs. They all sort of use the same railings, just WWE made them look nicer for television. Now, Ricky Steamboat got the win over the Macho Man. As far as I know, there was never a rematch unless it was held on a house show. There was no televised show. There was no pay-per-view. There was no nothing. Just Steamboat went in one direction, and Macho Man started his babyface turn, teaming up, getting to where the Mega Powers would go to build up him winning the championship at WrestleMania 4, and then, losing the championship to Hogan in the main event of WrestleMania 5. Now, when the brackets came out for WrestleMania 4, the tournament for the championship. People looked at it as, the Macho Man and Ricky Steamboat, they both get a win in the first round. We're going to see this epic rematch. And that was a rematch people had circled on their board. Like, this is the match to watch because of how great last year's match was going to be. Both of these guys wanting to be the WWE champion is going to make this match even more special. Now, if you look at that, main event of WrestleMania 3, Hulk Hogan against Andre the Giant. Hulk Hogan picks up Andre the Giant, slams him in the middle of the ring. How easy would it have been for, WWE to come back with the cash cow main event of just saying, all right, Hogan beat him once, but can Hogan slam him again? They didn't do that. They just moved in a separate direction. They came all the way almost down to the next year, building up WrestleMania 4, and they did the main event on NBC, one of the biggest televised specials that WWE or wrestling has ever done in the United States. They put that on NBC on prime time. I believe it was on a Tuesday. It might have been on a Thursday. I can't remember. I just know it wasn't on Saturdays on late night. It was actually put up prime time, guaranteed viewage. I think it did a huge historic rating that nothing will ever touch in wrestling or in television again, just because of how many different channels there are. But, people wanted to see Hogan versus Andre, and Hogan versus Andre was on free television. Now, in that match, you saw the $1 Million Man buy off the Hebners with the plastic surgery of building another referee that looked like the referee that was inside of the ring. Hogan kicked out at 2, but the bad referee counted 3. Andre won the championship. He gave it to Ted DiBiase. Basically, the powers that would be that Jack Tunney, the commissioner of the WWF, didn't know what to do. He just declared that the title was vacant, and then WrestleMania 4, we would have a tournament to declare who the new champion was going to be. It set up a whole WrestleMania, and inside of that tournament, we were going to get to see the rematch of how big that match was going to be. Hogan versus Andre, guaranteed second round match with both guys getting buys because they were both claiming to be the former champion, making it, even though it was in the undercard, a big, huge match added to WrestleMania 4. They were able to hold off the rematches that long. Now, I was about to say last month, because that's how you used to do on pay-per-views. 2 weeks ago, we saw Kevin Owens make his debut in the WWE, having his first match in the WWE ring. He beat John Cena right there in the middle of the ring. We saw Owens beat down Cena. We saw Cena beat down Owens. Both guys getting disgruntled in the ring because they didn't know what they were going to have to do to put the other guy away. There were times when you easily thought the match was over. Owens was going to get the win, and we'd see Owens lay down trying to get the pin on Cena, and Cena be able to kick out at 2 3/4. And then Cena hitting the 5 moves of doom, bringing out the best of himself, thinking, oh, well, you know what? I thought it was going to be Owens getting the victory, and Owens was able to kick out of what Cena had going down. This match went back and forth, and it was great. But 2 weeks later, you're going to give us this match and call it the biggest anticipated rematch in WWE history. I call shenanigans on this easily. Maybe even at the worst, if you put Kevin Owens back down in NXT for a bit, have him run through till he finally loses the championship and then bring him back up. Or if you don't want to hide him, just have him going around WWE bragging that he beat John Cena. Even if he's not facing main event talent, have him go out there against Adrian Neville, a past NXT champion. Have him go out there and beat up guys along the mid-card. And maybe then you finally bring Cena back, saying that he wants to avenge this win. And, he's been having this, underneath his skin for 3 months. You've seen Owens beating all these other competitors, but it's time he wants his rematch. He's finally ready to get in the ring with Owens again and face the monster. Then, this is an anticipated rematch, because you're actually wondering, how is John Cena going on? Not being able to beat this guy, and this guy's running around town telling everybody that he beat him. That's when this becomes an anticipated rematch. Not slap 2 weeks on it and then we'll have him go out there again. Now, the thing I like about this match is that the titles are on these champions, but the titles aren't on the line. This actually is a fight. Kevin Owens is a prize fighter. He just wants a better life for himself and his family, and that's why he gets into the ring and fights in WWE. And he doesn't even seem like he wants to be United States champion. He knows that the NXT championship means something. This is putting himself over. It's putting over the NXT brand. It's putting over Triple H. It's making Wednesday nights on the WWE network seem like must-see TV. What is this championship? I never really hear, WWE tout the number of people that watch NXT specials, that watch NXT week in and week out. My only guess is that it's not as high as we think it's going to be. It's not SmackDown level, it's not main event level, that it's only a small number of people who watch NXT, but having your NXT champion show up and beat John Cena, the guy of WWE, means something. And it wasn't a fluke victory. It wasn't a screw job finish. It was one guy beating another guy. And Cena said that he was coming out to show his respect to Kevin Owens, and he was actually going to hand over the United States champion. But instead, Owens was in the ring bickering about something, and Cena decided that he wasn't going to give the title. And it seemed like he was going to put the title on the line, but he ended up not doing it. So I'm not really sure. It's a matter of respect in this match to see who's better than the other. My bet says put your money on Cena. And Cena's going to get the victory over Owens, but we'll have to see. I hope that Owens is able to get the win, but my guess is that Money in the Bank is not going to be the last fight for Cena going up against Kevin Owens.